Welcome to Talkin' Laws, where brother-in-laws talk sports, theology, and politics. I'm your host, Silas. Let's get talking. All right. Welcome back to another sports episode of Talkin' Laws. We will get started with some college football playoff review and preview. So game one was Notre Dame beating the Nittany Lions of Penn State 27-24. Start there. What were your guys' initial thoughts of the game?
I mean, you and I kind of talked about this earlier, Silas. I said James Franklin was finally going to do it, win that big game. And once again, the Nittany Lions come up short again. Now, your whole thing earlier at church was, well, Zach, did James Franklin lose it or did Drew Aller lose the game? I understand what you're saying, but ultimately, wins and losses don't go on players, they go on coaches. So,
You think you'll be fired for it?
No. He's not going anywhere. No. And I'm also going back. Ryan Day made the championship. He's good. He's not going anywhere. Yep. But, no, game was great. Really low scoring in the first half. Really good for Notre Dame to get that field goal at the end of the first half before going in. And then, what do you guys think about the pass interference right near the end zone? Was that a pass interference?
I gotta think back on that one.
Yeah, it's a ways back.
I think it was a fair call, but I don't know if it was necessary.
Like I said, I'm not a football official. I just know from a fan perspective, I probably thought it was pass interference. A lot of people, primarily, the Penn State fans, are like, no way. But no,
well, and I know a lot of times in games like this, when you have a call like that, you'll a lot of times get, well, you can't call it in that situation. It's like, well, situations don't dictate what the rules are. The rules are the rules. And if it happens in a situation, it happens in a situation. Don't interfere. I don't know.
No, I'd say Riley Leonard was really poised. Made a mistake, but the defense did their job. And tell you what, he went out and won on the game with his legs, some good passes. And that Notre Dame defense came through when they had to. So, great kick. It was really cool seeing the kicker's old man up there in the stands, just really excited for his son. I love that kind of thing. And, yeah, so I'll go move my mic over a little bit. Let's see what I'm cheering for.
I see. In the championship.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No, Iowa State all the way. But for the game, for this game, yeah, I'm cheering for Notre Dame. Find out my pick later.
Yep. No, I think Notre Dame played well. I think they came in, kind of proved everybody, I don't know, right or wrong. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of a 50-50 split, I think, on like what people actually thought the outcome of the game. Like for me, I thought Notre Dame had the upper hand. But Penn State, especially if they get their fans out, I think have a lot of momentum that way, and they build a lot of
great pass rush. Yeah. That kid,
he's gonna go in the draft.
He's gonna go top 10, dude.
Yeah. I think he'll be the first edge guy off the board. But
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
No, I thought it was a good game. I think what's Notre Dame's coach now?
Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman. I think he's probably going to be looked at for a head coaching job.
Well, dude, I mean, you're the Bears fan. They're looking at. I don't know if he'll get the job.
I don't remember if they requested an interview with him or not.
I don't know if they. I mean, he'll interview for it. I'm not sure he would take it necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Matt Campbell with Iowa State.
Campbell's not going anywhere.
No, they threw the interview out there. I think he'll take the interview, but I don't.
You
think
should
he's
take the interview.
So.
Doesn't mean you're leaving.
I mean, he had a $68 million offer from the Jets in 2018 or 2021. Sorry,
right?
So,
but
he turned down USC too before they went to Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, but going back to your point about with James Franklin not being able to win a big game, my pushback on that is it's not like he got blown out.
No.
They were winning at half. You're going up against a really good defense in Notre Dame, and so it's not like he came out here and just completely laid an egg.
No,
and it's they didn't have like the toughest path to get to this game. Like Notre Dame and Ohio State have probably had the toughest path, and those are your team in the championship.
Yep.
Notice, no one with a bye week
heck of a coaching job to get to this point. And And it's just, and down the stretch of the season, Penn State was really good. And, if you knock on that door enough times, eventually you're going to get through. And so this game, if Notre Dame had come out and just completely blown out Penn State or held them, to just very few points or anything like that, then I would probably agree with you. But
sure.
Penn State came out, looked really good, was winning at half. Down the stretch, could have played a lot better. But again, sometimes you go in a halftime locker room and defensive coordinators can make adjustments and take things away that you want to do,
Well, look out for Penn State next year.
Penn State looked really good, and your quarterback's coming back.
Yep, exactly.
I think Penn State could be...
They'll be back again in the
really
playoff, I think.
year.
I don't know if it'll go to 16 next year, but I think they're going to redo how they do the bye weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I don't... This game didn't, for me, with James Franklin, it didn't tell me that he can't win a big game. It tells me that he's actually probably got Penn State...
They're in a good spot. They have the quarterback
they've ever
now.
been to being able to win that big game, if anything else. So.
Yep. All right, so...
All right, let's move on to game 2 with Ohio State and Texas.
I watched all of that game. I was able to watch all that one. I wasn't able to watch all of the first one, but that was a solid game. That was a fun game to watch.
Yep.
I was watching it with a Texas fan, so that was also enjoyable.
Oh, you poor man.
No, it was pretty fun to see him suffer a little bit.
Oh, that's...
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's always a good thing.
But no, I thought Ohio State played a very through and through game against Texas. They put pressure on Ewers. I mean, he didn't have any sort of time in the pocket really. He was under pressure most of that game.
Texas defense did really well too.
Yeah, but their run game, I think that's kind of where the difference came in. Is Ohio State was still able to run the ball some. Texas really struggled to run the game
right
during that game. So I just think it just shows you how critical it is to have both sides of the ball working well in a game. When you get stagnant on one side of the ball, that's where I think you start to see a lot of teams fall in these games, especially late in games.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think great game, first of all, I'm a huge proponent of the 12-team playoff. Yeah, the first round games were all duds. You get to those quarterfinals, they were really good for the most part. Semifinals were great. I expect a great game in 8 days. But, yeah, as far as this one, I'm a proponent if Sawyer doesn't come around the edge and take out yours and take the ball back to seal the game, Texas is going in. We got another overtime game.
Yep,
but
I think so.
Give credit to Jack Sawyer. The guy's a beast. And got yours straight the ball, then took it back himself. That was super exciting. It made me happy as a Big 12 fan because, man, I just can't stand Texas.
Yep. So Sawyer, he's a senior. Do you think that his playing in that game gives him a potential to go in the draft?
Yeah.
I don't think just that game. He's been now kind of some analysis I heard is he hasn't he had a lot of hype, I guess, coming into Ohio State. Hasn't really lived up to it, but kind of down the stretch, it seems like he's been really good for Ohio State. And when you play really good on big stages, that can shoot you up in the draft stock.
Well, especially if he plays well on next Monday, then I'm not saying first round or anything, but why not go mid, third, fourth?
Yeah, he might be
That's okay.
I will say in this game, I was pretty impressed with Texas because it kind of looked like Ohio State was just going to come out and do what they did in the last two games and blow the doors off. But Texas, a lot of credit to their defense, looked incredible. They made Jeremiah Smith a non-factor.
What do you have? 2-3 catches? That's
it. One catch
that was it.
Only 3 targets, and one of them was a pick. They
were doubling him most of the game.
They made him a non-factor.
Guy's crazy.
They made him a complete non-factor in that game. I thought that was really impressive by that Texas defense. But when you go up against an Ohio State team like this that is that deep when it comes to weapons, it was impressive of Ohio State when your weapon number one is gone to still be able to look that efficient and good on offense. It wasn't great
Ohio
throughout
State
the game,
can build some,
but they
build
still
some receivers. That's for sure.
Their running backs,
they
really
can.
Good.
Defensive ends.
I think other than that defensive touchdown for Jack Sawyer, all the touchdowns were by running backs in this game, and so
Will Howard managed the game.
Some great offensive minds in this game, knowing how to make running backs a part of your extension of your passing game. Or an extension of your running game, whichever way you want to look at it. But I thought it was a good game, and it's what you want in playoff games like this when you get down to the Final Four. is good match teams. I mean, because you kind of ended up in the same spot where you've been in the last 4 years, where you've got your 4 best teams there. It just felt like it was a much more deserved path to be there.
Yeah.
Instead of these teams got picked and this team got left out. It's nope, these 4 won their games and that's why they're there.
Well, and notice here, there's no first round buys in the title game either.
Yep,
they won 3 games to get here.
Yep. Notre Dame and Ohio State.
No, it's an impressive path in that. What do you got for your championship game? Who do you?
Well, you want to bring us into that one, Silas? We got
Ohio State, Notre Dame. Let's click on that one real quick.
Where's the game being played at? Remind me.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So
it's where the Saints play.
Sure.
Oh, that's Atlanta.
That's Atlanta.
I thought the Superdome for some reason. Yeah.
So right now, Ohio State is favored by 8.5.
Really?
Where we are at.
That seems high.
Opened at 9.5.
So it came down a point. Okay.
So it's actually come down. Yep.
Jim, you want to start off?
I think Ohio State has the advantage here. I don't think Notre Dame has the depth to put up with Ohio State for a game like that. I think Ryan Day has so much on the line at this point. I think his players want him there, and so they're playing hard for him. Mm-hmm. So when you just come to who's playing for what, Notre Dame, I don't think really has anything to prove in this game.
They've gone farther than anyone thought they would after they lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, they've proven that they're a team that can compete.
They deserve to be in
whatever league they wanted to be in.
They're going to stay independent. But
they're
going to
stay independent. But they're proving that even though they're an independent and they don't have the advantage or even some of the money as some of these conferences in their program, they're putting up a fight and they're putting up a really good showing. So I don't think Notre Dame has anything to lose. And I think Ohio State has more to lose on it and more on the line.
Sure.
When it comes down to it, I think Ohio State has more to prove. So with that in mind, I'm going to take Ohio State. I think it's a close game, though. I think it's down to like a 3-point win for Ohio State.
So whoever gets the ball last.
Kind of a thing, yeah. And I think Notre Dame puts up a huge fight just because Ohio State comes in with a lot more to lose than Notre Dame does. And so if they don't have the right mindset coming in, then Notre Dame's going to take advantage of that.
Okay. Sauce, what do you got? You want me to go?
I'm kind of on the same board. I'm taking Ohio State. I think they are the better team. Ryan Day especially has a lot to prove in this game. Mm-hmm. And what a better way to follow up with Michigan winning a championship than, well, you go win one, and you had to go through a 12-team playoff.
Does a national championship, even if you're Ohio State, does winning a national championship this year, does that erase the Michigan loss?
No. Because
I didn't think so either.
Because Michigan will always be able to use, well, we beat you in the year you won the championship. So that sucks. Yep. But it keeps Ryan Day's job around. It gives him it gets that monkey off his back.
I think it gives him maybe one more year. I think if he still doesn't beat Michigan State next year, he's on the hot seat again. Maybe
he would have to lose next week and then lose to Michigan again.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win,
if he wins, it's like a 2-year thing.
Because in the biggest rivalries like that, if you can't beat your rival, fans don't want to keep you around. Mm-hmm. I'll take Buckeyes. I think Notre Dame covers though. I think they keep it within the 8.5. So it could come down to a field goal or a last second drive potentially to win this game. I think Notre Dame's defense is good enough to keep them in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Buckeyes held Texas's run game in check, though, so it's going to be a matter if Notre Dame can get the running game going. If they can, and their defense can limit Ohio State's, that's your path to victory. I don't see those things happening, so I'll take Ohio State, but I'll keep it close.
Yep. I think this game, guys, honestly, is going to come down to Riley Leonard's legs. Will Howard does not run. Not that he doesn't have to run.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, he can if he has to, but that's not he's a pocket passer, okay? Riley Leonard, he got Notre Dame down the field a couple times with some really timely runs. And I tell you what, if it's 3rd and 7 and all of a sudden he gets flushed out, he can get you to that first down and extend those drives. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take Ohio State like you guys as well. They're the hottest team right now. Will Howard's playing within himself. He's not trying to do too much. Just get it to your playmakers and let them make a play.
Yep.
But I'm not saying Notre Dame can't win this game. I'll be cheering for Notre Dame, but I'm picking Ohio State. But like you guys, I think we're going to have a 27-21, 24-21, somewhere around there. Yep. It's not going to be an offensive explosion,
No,
Now,
I
it's not going to be 34-0 at one point like it was at Oregon and Ohio
it being
State.
a blowout either. I
don't think so either.
I mean,
either one of these
if it is a
teams-
blowout in one way, it will be Ohio State. But.
Yeah.
All right. We will now get to some NFL talk. Looking at the playoffs, but before we get to that, a couple of our wives have made us
We got
some sort of a drink.
nasty drink.
I don't know what it
concoction.
is.
Looks
My
Looks
initial guess
like
is cider.
something.
We
yes, it's got
there's,
pulp in it.
There's
Well-
orange juice in it, or some sort of. We don't know what's in this drink. We are going to try
This one
it.
doesn't smell as bad as
Not
the
as bad as
air.
the battery acid we had last time.
And then at the end of the show, what is in it will be revealed.
Pretty sure I
so-
know what's in it, but it's okay.
Well, it's got pulp. We know that.
Yeah, you guys
All
try
right.
All right, here we go.
That one's not bad.
That's not terrible.
I might drink more of that.
No, I might have to keep this closer.
Yeah, that's-
Your wives were trying to poison me this time.
No,
this isn't bad.
this one's not bad. I might hit that up for a second.
Put some ice on it. That'd be all right.
That's actually quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I like it.
I'm curious to see watch it be like something real nasty and raw.
We like it. Yeah.
All right.
right.
Anyways, we will get to some NFL playoff talk, and I'll kick that over to James for that.
Yeah, I'm watched most of these games. I missed the first part of the Houston game because I had other stuff going on, but not the outcome I was expecting from this
Yeah,
game.
me either.
The Chargers were absolutely flat as all get out. I did not expect that out of them. Houston put up a massive showing defensively.
Mm-hmm.
D'Amico Ryan was rocking, watching his defense do that.
Yep.
So, impressive showing from Houston. I don't know if that lasts to against KC. I really don't.
Well,
But out of anybody left,
yeah, it would be Houston. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Chargers have a better chance versus KC or Houston, other than Houston just
I
being
think
a little
Chargers
amped up.
would, but
Houston's hardly ever made it past the divisional round.
they've
or
never been in
wild
an
card
AFC
round.
title game.
So
Yeah.
I mean, they might be a little bit amped up for that, but Chiefs are so.
And you're going to
used to
Arrowhead, and
it.
it's going to
Yep.
be flipping cold.
Yep,
I mean,
So, we'll
looking at
see.
the game, I mean, Chargers did get out to a 6-0 lead.
they did right out the bat. They came out. They
And
scored.
then just kind of looking at
then
scoring
they did
drives,
nothing.
then the next time,
Go time of possession.
Chargers.
Can you find time of possession or no?
I got it. Houston had the ball for 35, and Chargers had it for 25. So 10 more minutes of possession time.
For Texans.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then you look at it.
does that break down by quarter?
I just have it overall.
Okay.
But you look at the total yards. I mean, Houston had 429 compared to 261. Big thing I look at right here, Herbert turned the ball over 4 times. Now, Houston turned the ball over 3, but Texans capitalized.
But two of Herbert's were late game, like bad turnovers, like picks. They were not even close. So I don't.
That's forcing the ball.
Yeah, he was trying to do too much. He knew they were behind, but it definitely showed through with some of the decisions he made. I don't know what's up with Herbert. He's kind of odd because early in his career, he looked really solid, like he was going to be one of the best quarterbacks, and he's kind of taken this lull over the last few years. Now, I think that changes with Harbaugh coming in.
Oh, big
I
time.
think he gets him kind of back on track, but I was really wondering if we would even hear about Herbert being someone again like 2 years ago. I
Sure.
thought he was going to kind of fall off. Last year, he struggled immensely.
I think
So-
the thing that would really help the Chargers, and we can do a top 10 NFL draft pick show, maybe, but I think for the Chargers, one thing that would really help them, they need, I mean, J.K. Dobbins is fine, but man, I think you need a kind of another running back to kind of help set that tone a little bit.
I mean, they had
maybe.
Eckler not that long ago.
He's
but
not there
obviously-
anymore, though.
Yeah,
I know,
up to
he's
Washington.
he's
and so let's go
Washington,
get
Wait,
that kind of
Chargers
running back.
Chargers have J.K. Dobbins and they have Gus Edwards. They have both of them.
Yeah. But Jim Harbaugh is going to be successful.
This is what I was looking at here.
Uh-huh.
So in the first quarter, Chargers got a field goal.
Yep.
Time of possession was 5:23. Texans took the possession and fumbled it. They had 7 yards and 9 seconds of possession.
That's great.
Then Chargers got another field goal, 2:53. Texans 5 plays, punt it, a minute 37, and then Chargers had again for another 2:23. So Chargers over like quadrupled Texans time of possession in the first quarter. I mean, absolutely. If you turned on the game at the first quarter, and then you might have turned the game off at the second quarter because you were like, this is pathetic. I'm just going to watch the Chargers run all over them.
Right.
So, and then it went punt, interception, punt, touchdown by the Texans right at the end. Punt, field goal, and then end of half. So, it's still, if you were watching, like I saw the score, wasn't watching the game, turned the game on just after half, and the score had not changed. And I was like, I missed like 10 minutes of playtime. What happened? So it was very boring first half. My wife's a pseudo Texans fan still, but
she hasn't fully converted yet.
No, she still has a little love in there for the Texans. So
easier to be a Texans fan than Bears fan right now,
I suppose. She's watched them get to the playoffs almost every year, playing in the worst division in the league, and then watch them lose.
Now I will say this to kind of wrap it up. I mean, C.J. Stroud played pretty well, but that's a whole different ball game there in Kansas City.
Yep.
Because it's going to be Houston's going to Kansas City, and then Baltimore's going up to Buffalo.
Yeah,
that'll be a really good one.
Yep. Yeah. The Baltimore-Pittsburgh game was not a surprise to me. I figured,
boring as heck.
Yeah, I figured Pittsburgh was going to struggle again. I don't think. I mean, they beat them in the regular season, but it's a totally different Ravens team than what we saw.
And let's just be honest here. The Ravens have one of the best offenses. They got Derrick Henry. They've got Lamar Jackson. They've got some great receivers. They got Mark Andrews.
I mean, at one point you had Lamar Jackson with 10 carries and like early second quarter and like 58 yards, and you had Derrick Henry with like 11 or 12 carries and like 68 yards.
Yeah.
So between the two of them, they had over 100 yards by the beginning of the second quarter.
Yep. No, 21-0 at one point for Baltimore, and just
at halftime
kind of zoned out. It was like, it's over. Russell Wilson's not going to do anything.
It was 14-0 at halftime for Baltimore.
Sour Denver fan.
It was tough to see Pittsburgh be that bad. I wasn't expecting them to do anything. They did manage to score a couple touchdowns.
Yay.
Basically garbage time, but it was pretty well what I expected out of that game.
Yeah, I mean, kind of previewing a little bit. We're not doing a preview this show, but honestly, the way Kansas City's kind of played all year, I think either Buffalo or Baltimore can beat Kansas City in the AFC title, because right now, prove me wrong. There ain't no way that Houston's going into Kansas City and winning. There ain't no way.
So unless it's something crazy like they did to the Chargers, where they forced some bad interceptions. It would have to be
like a defensive performance of a lifetime.
It's not going to be a shootout.
Or somehow C.J. Stroud and these wide receivers just go crazy. Those are
the problem.
Is
he's missing his biggest two targets. So I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I don't. Joe Mixon's good. He's really good.
Yeah.
So that is an advantage, I think, to Texans away from the Chiefs is the run game. Your running backs there. But I just think if it is going to be Houston winning, it's because their defense shows up like they did against the Chargers, and the Chiefs just straight up can't do anything. So, which I'd love to see. That's fine. Buffalo Denver game again. I was not surprised.
I'll take this one. I called this one in our preview. Thought Denver would do something, but in the end, it was going to be a blowout, and that's what it was. Really exciting to start. Denver long pass to the Oregon teammates for a long touchdown, and after that, close. We pulled the Bears going to the end of the half field goal. And sorry, Jim.
I don't know. I got a double doink on
so. You're better than us at doinks. That's fine. But Buffalo went right down the field, and we held them to a field goal, but you knew Buffalo was just going to keep coming. They just kept running the ball.
Yep.
Denver, we led the league in sacks this year. Josh Allen didn't have to drop back and pass that much. And
what really showed through strongly to me is the difference in experience. You saw the inexperience of Bo Nix. He hasn't been in those high tempo, high pressure situations very often. Josh Allen's ready for it. He wants this really badly.
Yep.
They've gotten to the playoffs too many times and not been able to show up and
finish.
or finish it.
Yep.
So I think they're just ready. They're amped up. They're ready for this.
This is the year of Buffalo.
Ty Johnson looked really good.
Yes.
It was an impressive showing from them. Expected maybe, but an impressive showing.
I think it was expected, but Buffalo can win the whole thing, no problem. Now, can they beat Kansas City in Kansas City if that comes to fruition? That's one thing they haven't been able to do. Just like the Packers beating the Niners in the playoffs, they can't finish and finish the game. We'll say this though, as a Bronco fan, you should be really excited. Bo Nix finished the year with 30 passing touchdowns, had a chunk of rushing touchdowns, and Denver ate $90 million of that $120 million dead cap. Mm-hmm. So now they can have a lot more financial wiggle room. They have tons of cap space. Yep. They can really build a really, really good team. And this team's already pretty good. They're not great, but they're pretty good.
Yeah,
they
I think you need a little bit more on the defensive side to kind of...
More rush, more stout in the rush game. Yeah. But overall, I think I'm really excited.
I mean, 210 rushing yards for the Bills. That's
not good.
That's not good. You're looking like the Bears over there. What are you doing?
No.
Hey, who's in the playoffs and who's not?
No, 210 rushing yards for the Bills.
No, I understand that.
That's really good for the Bills.
Well, no. What I'm saying is it's bad on the defensive side for the Broncos, and that's why I'm saying that the Bears are...
They get more stout.
Back to the Bills side of things, if you're looking at beating Kansas City, run the ball.
Yeah, run the ball, yeah.
Control tempo.
Keep Mahomes out the field.
That's how you do it, and if you can run the ball effectively like that, and I think that's what almost makes this Buffalo team different and this Baltimore team different this year. If you're talking about beating Kansas City, can you control the time of possession? Can you run the ball effectively and keep Patrick Mahomes out the field? And I think these teams have the keys to do that.
Yep. And defensively, both these teams are way better than they have been.
And that's your key to being able to finally get over that Kansas City hump in the playoffs.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
this is off track, but I just was thinking about our
go for it. I love off track.
Our double doink as the Bears fan. So the Panthers, I only like Adam Thielen on that team. Don't know why.
Like Bryce Young?
Bryce Young's okay, but I have a little thing against the Panthers, and it's that they signed Eddie Pinheiro. And so I just am wanting him to fail.
You sound like a Packers fan cheering against the Jets.
So anyway, that's
a lot more.
Every time he goes out to kick,
Packers
I'm like, please doink it,
just to prove your Bears fandom right.
Yes, just to prove that he sucks. I don't know.
3 more games going on. We'll see what happens in the NFC side, but at least want to get some NFL talk in.
I mean, as of right now, Eagles are up 16-10,
and they're in the red zone.
Yep.
Nope, should be.
I will say Jalen Hurts, not having played 2 games, he looks pretty well like himself. I'm pretty impressed to see him come out and.
Packers aren't ready to. They're not ready to win and advance in the playoffs yet. I think they give them next year. I think they can at least make the NFC title next year. So it just depends on how Jordan Love develops. They got to get better receivers too.
Yeah, they need better.
Christian Watson, him being hurt, that doesn't help him at all. But
Jaden Reed's okay. They're young.
They need a true wide receiver one. I don't think they have that on the Green Bay team right now.
Well, and the Packers are not going to be a team like years ago where the Falcons traded away a ton to move up and get Julio Jones, who will be a Hall of Famer one day for them. I don't believe the Packers. They don't like chances. They're not going to move up so many spots to grab Titaroa and McMillan out of Arizona. No. You know?
That's how you say it.
Is it?
Titaroa and McMillan, yeah. Learn his name.
So, no, I think it'll be an interesting game to see how this one finishes out.
Jim, we got a few more minutes left. Let's see. I'm going to do a quick preview of the last 2 tonight. Commanders, Bucks, Vikings, Ramblers. Give your quick opinion on it.
Well, Commanders, Bucks, I think is going to be one of the better games of the weekend.
Here. Can't wait.
Because you have such a, I think, even matched teams there. Like when you look at them, you have the stout defense of Washington, but you've got the inexperience on the offensive side.
Yeah.
Whereas you have kind of that experience on the offensive side with Tampa Bay and like Mike Evans.
And they're at home too.
Yeah, and they're home and Baker Mayfield I think has got a little bit that he's trying to prove here and kind of.
He's underappreciated.
Well, he's always come in and been that guy that's like, I'm going to prove everybody wrong because everybody thought he was garbage and at the Browns and they gave him away. And he's kind of bounced around a couple teams, and now he's at the Bucks, kind of saying, "Hey, guess what? I am something." And
I've got the Bucks in this one.
Yeah, I did too. I picked the Bucks. I think it'll be a close game, and I think it'll come down
your
to
experience for the Bucks probably helps him in this game.
I think so.
It's a very inexperienced.
I think it comes down to the decision making of Baker Mayfield. If he doesn't make the dumb passes,
good Baker.
We need good Baker. Yeah, where he runs 10 yards and puts his head into somebody and fires everybody up a little bit. Like he does that. He wants that contact and he looks for that. And when he gets to that side of him, that's when he plays well.
Yep.
He's a poor player when he backs off pressure, when he runs away,
He's gotta play
when he
with that
scrambles.
edge.
He's got to play with that little extra energy in that. And I think Jaden Daniels is a quarterback that we're going to see for a long time in the league. So
Yeah, him and Bo Nix got some battles between those two for
All
a
right,
while.
running out of time. Quick pick: Rams or Vikings?
because I don't want the Rams to win, or because I don't want Vikings to win, I picked the Rams. But
Who's your pick?
I think it's a struggle.
I want to pick the Rams, but I'm going to pick the Vikings. Now, here's the thing: does it really affect not having the home game in Los Angeles with the wildfires of being down in
I
Arizona?
think it's
Is it really
a little different, but the Cardinals did go and pick up the Rams, like their whole team, family, everybody.
That's good of them.
And flew them in. And,
That's good.
And let them use their facilities this whole week. So I do think that takes a little bit of the I don't know. It does. I don't think it affects it as much because nobody's worried about their families right now. Nobody's worried about that. They're all together. They were there early, so they can kind of settle in, get the facilities set up, things like that. So
All right.
maybe a little bit, but I don't know. It's still pretty close.
I got Vikings.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, welcome back. We will get into some Big 12 basketball here. Kick it over to Zach to start it off.
All right. So we are Big 12 fans.
Fandom.
Yeah, big time. It is the best conference. I don't care what Greg Sankey says of the SEC. I don't care.
I mean, the Big 12 is the best basketball conference. SEC is not
Best
far
football.
behind. No, I'm just saying basketball-wise, the
really?
SEC
They're
is
really
really
good.
stepped up.
Maybe the best this year, but that just a one-year thing does not make you the best basketball.
No, it's about
conference.
consistency.
Yes.
SEC's got that for football. Anyway, we're going to review the best game of the week, and that was most definitely Iowa State, Texas Tech. And we're not doing that just because we're Iowa State fans. This one was a great game. Stressed me out beyond belief, but it was a great game. Iowa State did not hit a three-pointer at all in the first half at all. And tell you what, Grant McCaslin's got something going on down there in Lubbock.
They looked really good.
They looked really good. And I tell you what, I thought Iowa State was lucky to only be down 6.
Yeah, I
halftime.
kept watching that game, and they were like down 10, down 12, down 8, down 10.
Down 13 at one point.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but then it was like down 8, down 6, down 5, down 8, down 5, down 8, and they could not get over that 5.
Up,
They
down,
couldn't-
up, down.
Well, but they couldn't get over that 5 hump. Like, they just kept getting stuck on that down 5 and
Yep.
couldn't get past that. I think they got down 3 at one point. Finally took the lead, like,
Taman
late
with a three-pointer.
second half.
Yep.
And then gave it right up and went down 8 again, and it was like, what in the world?
Yeah, I mean, Darian Williams is just, I mean, he's been so good the past couple of years for Texas Tech. I mean, I'm sure maybe some people don't know this, but Darian Williams was potentially going to come to Iowa State a couple years ago, and I'm going down to Tech, and Keyshawn Gilbert committed for Iowa State. It's worked out for both schools very well. But Iowa State, this is what championship teams are made of. They find a way to win.
Well, and that's really what I kept going back to is this team never, even though they were down, and they got down by more or whatever.
Yep.
They kept fighting, and they never let off the gas. Like they never quit on it. They just continued to push and push and push and push and just find buckets and find turnovers.
They got the stops they needed.
Yep, that's just it, that's what makes a championship caliber team. Is it's the moment's never too big for you. You're never down and out of it.
Yep.
There's always that path back, and that's what you're seeing with some of the top teams with Duke, Iowa State, Auburn, teams like that. And I think that's what separates those teams from, let's say, Tennessee. They go on the road and they get
They got
doors blown off,
shellacked by Florida.
And
So do you think them
versus
beating
Iowa
Texas
State goes,
does anything for them?
Being Texas Tech?
No, Tennessee beating Texas. Do you
No,
think that
they're
does
still
anything?
going to draw. They might still be top 5 potentially.
I was
but
wondering if
they'll
they
be-
basically go to like 4 or 5, something like that.
Duke's going to move up.
See,
Iowa State's going to move up.
If they do that, though, I mean, that was a. It's not like it was a close loss.
No, I know.
That
It
was
was
a
a
30.
ball.
They scored
bad-
49.
That was a bad loss. Yeah,
So-
I mean, they had like 20 first half points.
So-
Maybe not even. It was bad.
Auburn is impressive. I think they do deserve to be the number 1 in the country.
But-
they lost Broom and still
Indefinitely.
won that game.
Yeah.
And that
wait,
was
what?
impressive.
Broom?
Yeah,
Johnny Broom's out
He
indefinitely.
took a wicked turn on his
That is-
ankle.
It was
Okay.
nasty. He doesn't
That's-
need surgery. We know that. So
That
he'll be
is-
back, but
that's not good for Auburn.
He definitely is not
the
a
way
good
it
thing.
looked.
Best
The way it
player.
looked is at best. I bet it's a high ankle sprain, and it's like 3 to 4 weeks before you see him again.
hey, that's fine.
So
we'll be ready
let's-
for the Iowa State will be ready for the national championship rematch in April. That's okay.
but
anyway-
that looked rough. But Auburn still managed to come back and win that game, so that does
went on
show
the
you
road.
a little grit.
Being on
that
the road's
team,
tough.
too, yep.
But that's Iowa State. You get to the second half, and they keep getting a puncher's chance. They're down 8. They hit a 3. You're down 5. They hit a 3. And whole time
it felt like Texas Tech. And I was listening to the radio broadcast, and Walters and Heft were all over that. They were like, felt like Texas Tech had an answer to everything
they did.
Tried,
Yeah.
And
Or
it was
sometimes they had 2 answers.
Yeah. And I was sitting there listening to it, and I was like, Iowa State just needs to go on that 8 to 10 point run. Finally get that lead. And when they do, Texas Tech immediately responded with an 8.
Yep.
It was either a 6 or an 8.
It took the lead by 4 again,
run.
yeah.
And it's like you finally get up by 3, and just like that, it's a 7-0 run by Texas Tech. That's what it was, and they're back in the lead. And it's like, man, you feel like you did all that, and so it was. It was a
that
very
place
impressive
was
game
loud
by Texas
too.
Tech.
Like
Yeah.
Supermarkets
They like
Arena.
their basketball there.
Is it Hilton? No, obviously not, or Fog Allen. But I tell you what, West Texas, they get up for basketball.
Yeah.
Good for them. They
That
got
sounded
great NIL down there at Texas Tech. They can compete very well. Let's talk about the end of regulation. Texas Tech, best free throw shooting team in the conference. 2 of their 90% free throw shooters miss one of the 2 shots.
Yep.
That kept Iowa State there. Listen, I'm a sucker for basketball officials. Going back to the clock to check, you had a half a sec. You had 0.5.
No, I think that was really a really good thing of them to do.
Well
I didn't
done.
even think about it, and they went back and reviewed that.
Yeah, they
Letter
had.
credit to them for doing that.
Yeah,
So,
but
But I
great.
mean,
sure
it's,
it was
it's
right.
just, I mean, that's your difference between Texas Tech being at home, can't make free throws. Iowa State, Joshua Jefferson in overtime.
they
makes
well, they
4
went
for 4.
they went 6 for
2
6, didn't they? In
huge
the
free throws.
overtime.
Yep.
And it's and that basketball can come down to so many little things,
Margins.
like free throws, turnover, stuff like, and that's your difference. Is Iowa State made their free throws late, Tech didn't, and if they make their free throws, the game probably doesn't go into overtime.
Well,
And
probably
Tech
not.
wins,
And that-
but you get into overtime and
That
Iowa
final
State,
overtime play. All I was hoping is that Gilbert didn't get the ball in his hands because he was having trouble at the end of the game controlling the ball and
he
maintaining
still
possession.
had 14, but
He's a
yeah.
good player, but down the stretch, like the last 2 minutes of the game,
Out of
he had-
control, I thought.
He was a little out of
He did
control.
get that layup, though, to get
Yeah.
us down to 1.
Yep, but he was a little out of control late game, and I was hoping that they would keep it out of his hands because I think he would have tried to make the bucket, and Lipsy did a great job of feeding Jefferson.
Well,
and
good cut by Jefferson down the paint. And then, tell you what, that half a second, you look at that replay, he gets it off out of his hands with 0.2 out. It's good. We go to overtime.
Also, Joshua Jefferson played 38 minutes in this game.
Yeah, he did. Gilbert played 37.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying Gilbert's a bad player.
Of course
He's
not,
great,
but, yeah.
but he was just a little wild. I think he was trying to do a little too much late game, trying to take the game over, and he didn't need to. He needed to rely on the guys that were hot, which at the time was Jefferson.
Sometimes
Really
you can
was.
get
Curtis-
really
Curtis.
good.
Yeah, and Curtis.
He's
Sometimes-
another monster game.
Keyshawn Gilbert, you can get really good takeover, and sometimes you get a little out of control takeover.
A little, trying to do a little too much.
Yeah,
I thought Keyshawn.
and that's why I think Taman's a really good balance
yeah.
Yep.
to him.
And so was Curtis.
The guard rotation on that team is fantastic because
Tell you-
you're able to start with Gilbert and with Lipsy and get them in the game, get them deep, and then be able to rotate Curtis Jones in and not lose any steam.
And then Nate Heisey, obviously, you're not bringing him in to score. You're bringing him in for that defense.
Well, they played a quote unquote a small man rotation late game with Heisey as 4, which is insane to see Iowa State play a small rotation like that, and they really pushed Tech late game with that rotation.
And now, the overtime. Curtis Jones hits that 3. I'm like, oh, awesome. We get them down to 1-1, second left on the shot clock. Freshman heaves it up, shouldn't have. He drains him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, great, here we go.
Yep.
And then the next time down the court, we get a shot clock violation.
Yeah,
they
that
go
one.
back down. Same kid hits this no business hitting it 2-pointer mid-range. I'm like, man,
I know.
it's not our day. That's what I
he
thought.
was just going to take over and run that one out.
But credit Iowa State. Joshua Jefferson hit his free throws down the line. He was tough. He's calm when there's people around him.
Yep.
And I'll just say it. I love Deshaun Jackson. I think he has so much muscle. There's so much power going up there. It bounces off the rim. He's got that soft little touch
needs
there.
to dunk it. Like
just dunk it.
Just
Yeah.
dunk it,
Just
Deshaun.
dunk
Yeah. Let the big dog just dunk it. He's
I've
called
never
a big
dunked a
dog for a
basketball.
reason.
Apparently, it's easier said than done. But
you know, 2 guys around you, just stand up and dunk it. I mean, come on.
6'11",
But no,
275.
Joshua Jefferson, that's the kind of player that can put a team over the top to that championship caliber level is that, he can play the 4, can play the 5, passes it so well offensively, is really good by the basket. It just a key player to this team, and just kind of, when you have that dominance inside and then the shooting ability of Curtis Jones outside, this team can kill you from
what's crazy?
Anywhere on the court.
What's that?
Curtis Jones had 35 minutes off the bench.
He would start anywhere else, but the dynamic works so well. He comes in with Heisey.
You basically were like 2 minutes in the first half, 2 minutes second half. Nah, Jones, you go play the rest.
But
what?
you bring in, but it's we're used to it as Iowa State fans. You see around 16 and a half left to go in the first half. You see Heisey and Brent Shedfield and Curtis.
Heisey had 31 minutes.
That defense.
I mean, it's
for that defense, yeah. But I tell you what, here's the thing. Credit Texas Tech.
And Heisey had 9 rebounds.
That's huge. And I tell you what, here's the thing. I'm going to get to rebounds here in a minute. Here's what kept Tech where they should be. They had 14 offensive rebounds.
Wow.
That's huge. Iowa State normally turns over people a ton. They don't turn over much. We were tied on turnovers at 14 apiece. And I tell you what, I'll say this right now. This Texas Tech team is really good. They can make it Sweet 16 with the right bracket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We had a total of 15 turnovers.
15,
Both
okay.
teams had 15.
Okay.
Mine has it at 14.
Either way, the point is we were tied. That's the point, people.
Yeah, even in turnovers, Tech out rebounds 34-29. So stuff like that keeps you in games.
Yep, and it's at home. The crowd was into it, very loud.
11-5 on steals. So
yep. And you had, at points in the paint, you had 50 points to 24. So Iowa State dominated the paint.
That's where Iowa State wins games.
Well, I mean, they didn't hit a three-pointer until the second half, but that's the thing with this team. You look at the old Hoiberg teams, you had to hit threes or you were not going to find a way to win, at least not very often. Steve Prohm, good and bad there. Mm-hmm. With TJ, you've seen how they've evolved from year 1 and year 2. They had to play defense to win. First one to 50 wins that game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ugly basketball, but you win, so it's fun.
Yeah, that's crazy. Their field goals in the first and second half were almost identical: 14 for 26 and 15 for 26. I mean, that's consistent.
You're shooting over 50%.
Yeah, you're 50.
Game.
I mean, Iowa State was 52%. I mean, so they were efficient offensively. It's just it didn't come from the 3-point line. Yep. It was coming from the 3-point line for Texas Tech that can make a difference.
Yeah,
yeah. They went 9 for 20 on their.
Tell you what, we'll wrap this game up here. Exciting. Tell you what, though, as an Iowa State fan, 4 seconds left. We're up 1. Here comes Darian Williams going down. He's not touched. You're trying to guard. You cannot foul.
I was so upset by how close he got to the basket.
Well, I'll say it. Darian Williams is a tremendous player. He might be first team All Big 12. Curtis Jones does not miss a teardrop.
No.
And Darian Williams, his primary hand is not his left. He went with the left hand instead of his right. Mm-hmm. And Tech loses. I thought as soon as he got in that lane, and there it goes, crud.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But he missed. And Iowa State's 14-1. Going to be number 2 in the country tomorrow.
Still a quality win.
You just got to survive some games. And that's what they did. We will keep going with our Big 12 talk here. We'll get to previewing some upcoming games. We won't go through all of them, but some of the more exciting matchups. Again, I'll kick it over to Zach to get this going.
Yeah, we got a really interesting game. Jimbo or Silas?
UCF Arizona State, that's your real interesting game?
No. UCF Arizona State. I will say.
Boring.
I think everyone's going to vomit due to boredom. Anyway.
Sorry, I think I was up one game. Baylor Arizona, is that where you're going?
So we got Baylor, Arizona, Tuesday night, 10 o'clock tip-off for you sickos here in the Midwest. This one's really interesting because Arizona kind of thought for dead at the non-con. They're 6-5, 5 losses. Seems really disappointing. They were a top 20 team coming in. All of a sudden, they're 4-0. They had a really tough non-con. They're 4-0 in the conference. You got Baylor coming in. They got past Arizona State last night on the road, and now they're going to Tucson on Tuesday. Baylor is shorthanded. 2 of their players they have coming off the bench that are averaging 9 and 8 are out indefinitely. So they're playing with 6 or 7 total. Now, Scott Drew, he'll be a Hall of Fame coach one day. They're 3-1 right now. They've managed the time right now for their players, but they can't get out and run like they like to. They like to come up and show press a little bit. They can't even do. They just get back in the half court. They got to come up slow and try to conserve that energy because they don't have a bench really right now. So their only loss in conference is a 19-point loss at Hilton. Not a bad loss whatsoever. You got a really hot Arizona team. Caleb Love's playing really well. I think this could be a really, really good game. I think Baylor is going to have to lose this one. I think Arizona's going to go to 5-0. That's just my personal opinion on that. Don't know if you guys. I know Jim. You watch a little bit. You haven't.
Yeah,
NFL season's not done yet.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't fully switched over to basketball focus yet. I gotta get through football here. That's my that's my first priority right now. But
that's all right.
I did watch. I mean, I watched the Iowa State Baylor game, and so I've seen Baylor in that. I haven't watched Arizona play all that much, but other than last year and what I know from last year, but. I mean, they seem like they should be a solid team. I don't see why they would lose to Baylor.
They're at home,
like you said. Yeah, Baylor's down a little bit on their depth. But is it just bench players that they're missing? Or are they missing starters?
The starters are there.
So they're missing 6 and 7 basically off the bench. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, we were just. You look at Iowa State with Curtis Jones. I mean, he's one of our biggest players, and he's the 6th man. So
he could be first team All Big 12, but he's a bench guy.
But I mean, it's like that's how big a difference bench guys can play. Like good bench players can really make a difference in those games.
Depth matters in big leagues like this. Yeah, it feels like you have a Baylor team struggling and an Arizona team
getting hot at
where
the right
everything's
time.
clicking, and they're a really hot team right now.
Yep,
it's hard to go and win on the road. If when that's the case, and so
now Scott Drew, can they do it? Absolutely, they can. But Baylor's shorthanded. Arizona's at home, and Baylor's been on the road for about 5 days now because they went out to play Arizona State. They're staying over for a few more days, and they play late Tuesday nights. They're getting back to Waco in the AM on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Okay, next game.
Could be Iowa State.
Yeah, could be the game of the week potentially.
Yeah.
Rankings won't come out till tomorrow, but right now, as of today, be number 3 Iowa State, number 11 Kansas. This is always a really good game between these two.
Question.
Yeah.
Would you rather this be crazy good game of the week between Iowa State and Kansas?
Or just a blowout by Iowa State? I'd love
And
that.
I love that too.
You get a lot of
It's
the,
Bill
like,
Self's
hey,
not
look
gonna
at this
happen.
game between them, so you get more eyes on Iowa State, or is it like, wow, Iowa State beat Kansas by like 15? What happened there?
I don't foresee that happening.
Bill Self's too good.
Yeah, I think this is like you go to, again, I'm gonna go NFL, but like, and I'm an NFC North guy, and so you go to any of these matchups, these division matchups. Doesn't matter what the record is when they come in. Everybody plays a little different when it's a division matchup.
Oh yeah,
it just doesn't matter. And Iowa State and Kansas, I think, is the biggest one in the Big 12 of when we go play each other. It doesn't matter what the record is because it's a totally different game.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game. Kansas State really isn't a rivalry. It is. I mean, even it's weird because in football, the Sunflower Showdown, Kansas State's beaten them like 19 of the past 20 times, and Kansas has dominated Kansas State for the most part in basketball. So Iowa State Kansas is, in just opinion, is a bigger rivalry game in basketball than Kansas State Kansas.
Yep. I look at the Iowa State Kansas as kind of that Duke Kentucky. Or Duke, North Carolina, matchup
for Big 12.
For Big 12, yeah, where it's you have that real big rivalry. You're gonna pack out the stadium no matter what you do, or call it whatever you're gonna call
the
it.
Arena.
The arena. There you go.
Same thing. Iowa State, Houston. They are friendly. I interact with quite a few Houston fans on Twitter, and it's like this brotherhood. We always cheer for each other, but then we're enemies for the game. But we cheer for each other's teams regardless. So it's this weird friendly rivalry kind of thing, whatever. Yep. But as far as the game goes,
I don't cheer for Kansas that much.
Sure. Right. Well, there's no. I mean, right now, Iowa State's at home. You always got to give. I'll give Iowa State the win. I think they could win by between 5 and 6 points. It's not gonna be a blowout. Hunter Dickinson. Whatever you think of him as far as making $2 million, not really to be that good a post.
Overrated.
Not as bad as Coleman Hawkins. Coleman Hawkins is a thief down there at K-State.
Yeah.
But regardless, Hunter Dickinson is always good for a double-double. But here's the thing. We had Hassan Ward and Big Rob Energy last year. This year, you got Deshaun Jackson, 6'11", 275. Hunter Dickinson can't just push him around.
Nope. I think this is a little different game than last year.
Yeah.
I do think Iowa State has a little bit more advantage when it comes to size and weight on the court and being able to kind of make them. We get to do what we want a little bit more down low. I don't think we had that advantage last year.
Yeah.
So I think this is Iowa State wins by like 6 or 8, honestly.
Oh, they won by 5 last year.
Yeah, that's where I put it.
But
you're not gonna. I don't think you're ever gonna see, as long as these two teams are good like this.
You're not going to see an Iowa State blowout from 2 years ago.
I don't. Yeah,
you're not going to see probably one of these teams blow out the other one. It's too heated of a rivalry, and so a team I think has to be down bad for a team to blow out the other. And so I don't think you're going to see that. I think Kansas will keep it close. Hilton feels like it's on another level right now. Iowa State has not lost there.
Not in like a year and a half.
Long time.
28 straight wins, 29 straight wins if we win this one?
It does not happen. It does not happen against Kansas. I think Iowa State keeps on rolling. I think they pull away late. I think they can get a double-digit win against Kansas.
Okay.
Win around that 10 to 12 mark.
It's going to be ridiculous. The noise can be ridiculous.
I think they can pull away a little bit towards the end and make that win look
Do you think they'll do a whiteout at Hilton?
They did last year. I don't know if they will this year or not, but we'll see.
I don't know. It'd be cool if they did, but just win. I don't care what it looks like.
Now, we're not discounting Kansas. Kansas can most definitely win anywhere, for sure. Yep. I love Bill Self. You may hate him. I love Coach Self.
I think the difference is Otzelberger and the way that he preps his teams for these games.
Yep.
I don't know what he does, but he does a really good job of preparing them and prepping them.
And the other thing you have to remember is usually the refs are going to favor the home team a little bit more.
Yeah, just
not that they should. It's just they're humans. It's going to happen. Okay, and the tenacity that Iowa State plays with, and the aggressive toughness that they play with. I don't even know what he said. That they play with on defense. I mean, it's just sometimes you can get away with a little bit more. You know, at home, and I just Kansas isn't a team that's built with that same level of physicality that Iowa State is.
And I'm still not sure about Kansas. They lost to West Virginia. West Virginia's not bad, but they're without their best player, and they lost at home. Mm-hmm. Kansas, for all we know, could go 18-2 the rest of the way in the Big 12. We don't know.
I do think, like you were talking about reffing and that, I do think in the Big 12 the refs do let them play with a little bit more physicality.
Yes, they do.
They generally do anywhere else. So.
Well, it's the refs have families. They want to get home to a family. They don't want to be there for 4 hours. So I don't blame them. But
oh my gosh!
All right.
We have a whole episode about this.
Are you going? What's your next one? Like West Virginia, Houston? Is that? Are you thinking that's going to be a decent?
I don't think so.
Houston's pretty good.
And I don't care if it's on the road or not. Kelvin Sampson. I'll make this one really quick. Kelvin Sampson, Darren DeVries. Advantage, Kelvin Sampson. And Darren DeVries is going to be a really, really good coach in this league. His son's the best player, and he's hurt.
Just not enough time.
I think that's a really, really. It's brand new coaching staff, all that. Now, if he can pull it out, man, we're looking at potential coach of the year potentially. But I'm going with Houston all on this one. I think that's fine. Now, Silas might want to preview the Houston UCF game on Saturday. I don't think it's worth it potentially, but going to the next game, and it's another one that's Iowa State. I promise people we're not going to preview Iowa State, Oklahoma State when that happens, okay? Oh, no. But no.
No, but we will call what the lopsided score will be.
Well, Kansas State can't even beat Oklahoma State. It's so bad. But Iowa State Saturday going into Morgantown. Tucker DeVries is not going to be back. He's out indefinitely. Morgantown, regardless, it's football, basketball, doesn't matter. Really, really tough place to go play. Iowa State's in the midst of this 3-game set of games right here where they're really, really tough. Could be the toughest stretch of 3 games they have.
So wait, why is Houston playing West Virginia not going to be a good game, but Iowa State playing West Virginia is? Is it just because it's
I'm an Iowa State fan, and Iowa State's always had trouble at Morgantown. Houston's only second year in the conference. We don't have enough data.
But they are playing at home, so do you think that's the difference there?
There's just something about...
Like when Iowa State has... when they host West Virginia.
If we host West Virginia, I'm not even thinking about it, honestly. But Morgantown's really tough. Now, I will be just fine if West Virginia wants to help out Iowa State in the conference standings and win, beat Houston on Wednesday. That's fine by me. Don't threaten me with a good time. But we don't have enough. For me personally, I don't have enough data to say that Kelvin Sampson's going to struggle in Morgantown. I've seen Iowa State with TJ always has really good teams. TJ's always made the tournament. Always struggle in Morgantown. Whether they win or lose, it's always a battle. So even when you're ranked number 3, that's a really hard place to go play at because they do love basketball out of West Virginia. Now, do I think Iowa State wins? Yes, but I think it's going to be, Iowa State is going to win. They'll be ahead by 3 or 4 most of the time, and then you extend it out to a 10 or 12 point win at the end. That's what I kind of think.
They
for
just kind of
Saturday.
outlast them, basically.
Yeah, outlast
Yeah, I
them.
don't know that West Virginia has the depth. I mean, there's teams that have clearly separated themselves within the conference. That's Iowa State. That's Houston. And then I guess after that, it's Kansas and
Arizona. Has to be Arizona, yeah.
And
Baylor's 3-1, but I worry about their
you
depth.
have a lot of good teams, but you have a few really good teams, and I just
So you think the discrepancy between the top and bottom is pretty high?
like the top of the conference and bottom of the conference. There's a huge difference
Oh,
between Iowa State
man.
and Oklahoma State,
And K-State.
Colorado.
Colorado,
I mean, I know
yep.
Colorado kept it close on
Utah.
the road, but that's.
Well, Utah just beat them by, 25 the other
But
day?
there's
Beat
you
Oklahoma
know,
State by 25?
there's a big difference between the top teams and bottom teams in the
Do you
conference.
think the Big 12 is like the biggest conference with the biggest discrepancy between top and bottom, or no?
I think so because SEC, I think top to bottom is there's not a lot of you got your Vanderbilt, but in the SEC, I think is going to get 11 teams. I think in the tournament this year because Mississippi State and Ole Miss look really good.
Yeah, they both look good.
Auburn, Alabama. Now Auburn, they're still going to make the tournament, but how long is Johnny Broome out for?
Yeah, I think if he's out for. I think if he's out for more than 3 or 4 weeks, Auburn struggles down through those few games.
So, I mean, your worst teams in the SEC, so conference-wise, you have Oklahoma, Arkansas, LSU, Texas, and South Carolina. All at 0-3 in conference, but your worst overall...
But look at Oklahoma. They'll make the
tournament. Your worst
tournament.
overall record in the SEC's 8-3, 8-2, 7-1. Those are your worst overall records.
No, you're
I'm on the wrong one. Oh, overall's right here. Never mind. I was looking at the wrong one. Thank you. So your worst overall record, South Carolina at 10-6.
And they took Auburn, only lost to them by 3 yesterday.
they played really
So
well.
I think this year is a misnomer.
So that's your top and bottom teams right there. South Carolina.
And your worst is
and
Colorado
Auburn.
at 9-6 in the Big 12. So I mean, it's not like there's a huge.
But think about it this way. So South Carolina played Auburn yesterday.
Yep.
They lost by 3.
Yep.
What if?
Houston played K-State yesterday. Perfect example.
Yeah.
87-57.
Yeah.
At Bramlage Coliseum.
And K-State is your bottom. It's 3. There's 3 to the bottom.
Yep.
And then you have Houston, who's your second top. So those two compare really well with each other, I think, of just showing you how
you can go case for
different it
case.
is.
South Carolina's at the bottom. Auburn's at the top. South Carolina kept it close with Auburn. Early in the season, Colorado's at the bottom. Right now, Iowa State's at the top. Colorado kept it close with Iowa State. And so it's just that's what makes a conference the best conference. When it comes to sport is on the road, can your worst teams keep it? Are they competitive with your best teams? Because you don't expect them to do it.
So then
on
that
the road.
puts SEC
But when
and
they're
Big
home-
12 about on the same
I think they're
plane.
comparable, but I
think they're
do
very
think
comparable.
But this year.
I think the SEC will be a
this
little
year,
bit better.
I think the SEC 's
regular
a little,
season.
I think they're a little deeper.
Yeah.
I think so, but
but
I mean,
it's
because man, Jerome Tank. I'm sorry, Jerome Tank cannot get it together, and they've got one of the top 10 most expensive rosters.
Why do you think
In
that
the
is? Why do you
conference.
think he's struggling so bad?
I don't know, but I like it. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything like that. I'm sure he's a great father, great husband. After he pulled that garbage at Hilton last year, I went from liking the guy to disliking him greatly, accusing Iowa State of spying on him. Anyone who's been to Hilton Coliseum will tell you there is no internet connectivity inside Hilton. And so I cannot wait for February 1st, Jim. I will be there with my spy goggles, just like the whole student section. I can't wait. But back to this game right here. The next one. We got to wrap it up. Arizona, Texas Tech. Texas Tech has a chance to get that signature win.
I think they get it here.
I do too.
Yeah, I think it's a close game like Iowa State though.
It's going to be a really good one, though.
Yeah,
really good.
Because Texas Tech might just be one of those teams that's just a different animal at home.
Yeah.
And
I could honestly even see this going Texas Tech by a point or two.
Yeah.
I could see it going either way by a point or two. It just depends on who can control their turnover margin.
And listen, if Texas Tech can get those offensive rebounds like they did against Iowa State and finish more and not turn the ball over as much, keep Caleb Love in check, they got a good shot.
It's a lot easier to turn the ball over less when you're not playing Iowa State.
Yeah.
So that
Well,
should
and here's the
help.
thing. Can we please take a moment of silence real quick for West Virginia? Thank you. They this week will be playing Houston and Iowa State,
Yeah, that's a rough schedule.
of the most physical teams in the country.
West Virginia might not have any. Maybe that's why Tucker DeVries isn't back. Maybe he's like,
He doesn't wanna
I'm
play
not saying these
Iowa
Iowa State
I'm
Houston
out
games.
for at least
I'm
2
still
weeks.
This
hurt
week,
a little
I'm
bit.
good,
I'll
yeah.
come back after that.
So,
but
all right, well,
we'll see if West Virginia has any players left after this.
See how wrong we are after this week. And
Well, hey, they could beat Houston. I'll take that'll help us in the conference standings. But to beat Houston, West Virginia, don't beat us. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Iowa State, just win all your games and don't worry about what else happens.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I mean, Sal, you really want to talk about Houston versus UCF?
nah.
Oh no.
Okay, good, because I don't think that's gonna be very good
No,
either.
UCF does not look good at all.
I don't mind Johnny Dawkins. They beat Texas Tech in Lubbock, but yeah,
I mean, they won the national championship in football 4 or 5 years ago.
I'm going to Disney. Nice dick.
No, I don't think UCF's anything this year. They are pretty unimpressive so far.
All right.
But-
Well,
all right,
I think
well.
that's it. That wraps it up.
All right,
Well-
should we try our drinks here real quick?
Most definitely.
I've got what it is. Let's
All right, what do
That's
we
oddly good.
real quick before we look at it? What do we think is in it? Can we come up with
orange
things?
juice is one.
There's different orange
I don't know
juice.
if you guys can see this, but
What's
we do
the
have
dark color?
We have a lot of pulp in there.
Do you think it's orange juice, apple cider, and then some sort of whiskey?
I don't taste the apple cider though.
unless they
You think
brought
so?
something.
I actually don't know if that was given the color.
Grapefruit? Some grapefruit, little tart to
We
it.
might have.
know if
Yeah.
that's
What's in your fridge, Jim?
Yeah. What's in the fridge? I think it's some sort of juice alongside the orange. Like the orange, I think is giving it the tartness.
Yeah.
I think there's something bubbly in there, like a.
I like it though.
It smells. It's
It's good. It is
It's
good.
really good. I liked it. What is
Okay.
it?
What do we
We've
have? in it?
got cranberry grape juice, orange juice, and champagne.
Champagne. That's the alcohol.
Okay, that's okay. 8 out of 10 for me.
I think that's the only thing that I
Honestly,
can,
Pretty
can
good.
actually make champagne taste good.
8 out of 10.
So I would drink this
Put it
one
on
again.
ice.
Yep.
I'd do this again.
I would drink this one again.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Talkin' Loss.
Like,
Comment,
share,
subscribe.
stay
Stay
talking.
talking.